Hi, so this is our BCM114 peer discussion. So I'm Jess, and my DA explores viral media by creating short travel reels with mini itineraries and must-try food spots as well as must-visit places. Initially, this is targeted towards travelers who rely heavily on social media for authentic travel inspiration.
Hi, I'm Eve. So my digital artifact is a TikTok account where I'm focusing on remixing media surrounding New Zealand hiking and nature to make it more engaging and accessible. My goal was to explore creative media production while experimenting with different tools and strategies to see what worked out best for my concept.
Hi, I'm Cassie. My DA is an Instagram account called Girl Reviews Hobbies, where I'm reviewing non-digital hobbies, specifically targeting the needs of 18 to 30-year-olds based on primary and secondary data, and I'm exploring local media.
Hi, I'm Kelly, and for my digital artifact, I'm exploring template media through creation and iteration through Canva. I've chosen to create template media as I've got strong organizational skills and an eye for design, and I think that through creating digital products, I'll be able to serve a social utility. Examples of the template media that I've created include weekly, monthly, yearly planners, as well as like budgeting templates and meal prepping lists, etc.
Hi, I'm Letitia, and for my digital artifact, I'm exploring remixed media as well, through imagining classic literature, book covers, remixing them. For phase one, I chose Wuthering Heights, 1984, and The Picture of Dorian Gray for the books that I was choosing to redesign, and just experimenting with how design can make these classics feel more approachable for modern readers.
Hi, I'm Jess. My digital artifact is on tangible media, focusing on textile objects and fabrication. My project is all about repurposing clothes like thrift flips and making them fit better or repurposing something that is existing. I made a blog and I also made a video to try and promote to other people how easy it can be. And one of the issues I had in the project is I got stuck on the framing stage. So after observing lots of great ideas through the Discord chat and ChatGPT, I kind of got stuck because I didn't know where I wanted to go with the project because I had so many ideas and I didn't know which one to pick.
Jess, just following on from that, what steps did you kind of take to like overcome this challenge so that like you don't go through this like mind blank for your next assessment?
Yeah, so there's a few things that I did that helped me. The main thing I think was talking to ChatGPT to kind of go back and forth and explore each of the ideas that I had to see which one seemed interesting and something like I wanted to pursue. But then also talking to other people, getting their opinion on what I should do. And lastly, just picking something, sticking with it, and going through with it so that I can get started and not be behind in time from not doing anything and just being lost. Did you have any problems with your project?
I did. So initially I had an issue with assumption. So I felt as though that I was forcing trending audio onto travel content would like guarantee me success. However, it didn't. I made a trend, and it's called Greece is calling my phone type of thing, where I thought it was going to outperform everything else that I created. But when I tested a different TikTok that was more authentic, it got a lot higher views as well as a save rate. So yeah, I just definitely noticed the difference with the platforms and what I had achieved.
So like what specifically was it that like made you realize like that Instagram kind of preferred this or like the TikTok preferred that more authentic style of like video of New York compared to like the Greece is calling my phone? Like was it research or anything like that or just the stats?
It was definitely research with like the analytics that I had received. So initially I noticed that the certain sounds, I did A and B testing which was one of the things that I had researched, and I wish I did more research, but that's okay, that's next time. But initially I just had played around with different trends, different audios, different captions, and even like the type of content that I produced, and just weighing up which one was better. And I noticed that the ones, like the idea that I had wanted to get out of that, like the outcome, definitely followed more with TikTok, which I like that more authentic feel, because I feel like people resonate with that more than just like a trend.
That's interesting. I'm actually a little shocked because I thought that Instagram would kind of prefer more of an authentic vibe than TikTok. So that's kind of interesting.
Yes, well, Instagram does like that as well, because they like, I found the very like polished, sleek kind of look, whereas TikTok seemed they wanted to like see the real kind of, I don't know, they wanted to see like what everyone gets down in their holiday.
Interesting. Very cool. Thank you. Well, I might start saying mine then, if that's okay. My issue that I encountered. I was kind of similar to Jess E in that I was struggling with like what kind of exploration phase to do specifically, because I just didn't know how to frame my DA. So yeah, I originally was going to do viral media, but then I ended up struggling with that, and then I ended up on local.
In terms of like deciding between your two like medias that you were going through, so what would you say was the biggest factor in going with local media?
Yes, so I ended up deciding on that because we had a tutorial with Travis, and where he really went through the design process, like from module 2. And then I thought like maybe I should go back to that observe stage. And then in doing that, I was like, well, I feel like the best way I can observe is like by asking people, like through survey that I did and stuff like that, and then also ask people in person. So I was like, well, I'm asking people who are near me, so I might as well just do local media instead. And then I'm going to probably focus on viral media in another one. So that way I was just able to like, I've got all my data for this, and then that basically helped me frame my DA from the data I already got. Like, so now it's not just reviewing hobbies, it's reviewing non-digital hobbies, because the 18 to 30-year-old demographic I found is kind of straying away from that from secondary research that I found. So
Yeah, that's really interesting. Sounds very like well researched. I had like a follow-on question from that. I was intrigued to see like your chosen age demographic. Is that like a result of, being on a university campus? Is that sort of where that 18 to 30 age group came from?
literally, yeah. It's just more like, I guess I'm in the demographic. I work at my work with people in the demographic, and uni as well. So that way, like, especially when I wanted to send out the survey, like I wanted people to be able to do it, kind of thing. So yeah.
Love it. In terms of sort of my challenges now, initially I feel like I'm quite indecisive. So when I was filtering through exactly what I wanted to do for my DA, I was going through like so many different choices. I have done a digital artifact before, and I was thinking like I could maybe expand on that. Previously, I did like an Instagram account for like makeup tips and makeup advice and all of that. However, I sort of wanted to shift like away from maybe like targeting Instagram and TikTok and whatnot, because I do feel like that's like my go-to. I wanted to challenge myself a little bit. And another one of my really like strong interests is like visual design, like creative design. And so sort of researching through the different types of like media that a DA can like take on, I was really intrigued with template media. So foremost, my challenge was deciding like what I wanted to do. Then when I decided I wanted to do template media, sort of figuring out what platform I wanted to create that media on. Obviously there's like a plethora of options out there. Like obviously Canva is a go-to, as well as just like Adobe Photoshop, and even like something as simple as like PowerPoint. Like you can have like an element of design on that. So sort of like iterating and developing my digital artifact more, I wanted to sort of figure out what exactly was the best way to create my media. I eventually set it on Canva. Now, I do think that was mostly just my familiarity with it. Like I use Canva like almost every day, if not for uni, but for work. So I think very familiar with the features of that. And I think it's very accessible. My other consideration was maybe doing Photoshop, because I do believe like it's a little bit more advanced in its like capabilities. My only issue is that is like, obviously I don't have access to it, so I didn't want to have to like fork out X amount of money when like Canva could and does do a similar job. But it's just something to sort of think about if this is something, you know, I continue developing maybe in like a second phase, depending on what limitations I do experience with Canva. Maybe that's something to explore later on down the track. And then another sort of one of my challenges that I faced, it is quite an oversaturated market, like template media. Obviously, there's a lot of like digital products on Etsy, which is where it's mainly sort of focused. So I wanted to sort of stand out from that and not just, you know, do the classic little like template that everyone has. So another challenge was just figuring out my style with that, like the niche that I wanted to go in, whether I wanted it to be really quirky and fun, or whether I wanted it to be really like minimalistic. So I've done a whole bunch of research on YouTube and Etsy to sort of see where I wanted to fit in with that. But yeah, so that's sort of my main challenges at the moment that I'm working through.
Yeah, I have a question. So if you were to start again with like the knowledge you have now of using Canva, because obviously you've been testing out for the digital artifact, would you choose to use that again, or did you come across any issues while you were testing that out?
Canva, like I said before, it's super accessible. It's such a great platform. The only thing, once again, like if you want premium like options with anything, just like with Photoshop, you do have to pay for it. So that is sort of a limitation I'm having with Canva at the moment. Like I will find like the perfect thing, and it will just be behind a paywall, or like I'll need to change like a document size or something when I've already created like everything, and like it will cost money to do it. So of course that's just like sort of the way of it. I think with like my hindsight that I have now, like I am enjoying using Canva, and I think it's, in terms of efficiency, like I know how to use it, so it's working the best. But yeah, in future, definitely Photoshop is something that I want to delve into more, because I feel like that's a lot more of like the industry standard. But yeah, I would say for now, I would stick with Canva, because it is pretty great for like how it's free and it's accessible. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. I might go on to my challenge now. So what I found difficult while doing my DA was finding the specific media that I wanted to remix. So originally my idea was to just do like YouTube videos and vlogs, because I assumed that there would be a lot from like people hiking in New Zealand. But when I actually, like, there were a lot, but they weren't like specifically what I was looking for. So I ended up finding like one or two, but I really wanted to remix like 3 different ones. So I then decided to do just one YouTube video and remix also a movie, and then like also remix with an old hiking magazine and make that into like a cool little animation to post. So yeah, so my challenge was just trying to find the specific content, and what I ended up doing to solve it was choosing the 3 different medias, which ultimately allowed me to test different medias with the algorithm of TikTok, which ended up being quite beneficial. So yeah.
Eve, did you find that one type, like the YouTube or the movie or the magazine, worked better on TikTok's algorithm, or was it more about how you edited or like remixed them?
Yeah, honestly, the movie I chose to like remix into a little edit was The Hunt for the Wilder People, which has quite a large fan base already. So I found that one like did the best, because I guess people like know about it and wanted to interact with the content about something that they were familiar with. So yeah, I'd definitely say remixing the movie. But yeah.
For like the next stage of your DA, would you consider like to keep testing different media sources, or are you gonna like, assuming that you're gonna continue on with what you're doing now, like would you focus on that or on just one type, or would you like kind of refine the style further?
I'm definitely interested in continuing to like refine the style. I was using actually like Premiere Pro, so one of the Adobe suites, which I've been wanting to test out for a while. So I think continuing to like build my skill base on that would be interesting for my future DA. So probably like refining the same platform and continuing on that. But yeah.
Awesome. I might talk about my challenge then. So mine's a little bit unique because I've like my project wasn't really anything to do with social media. It was more just about kind of designing. Like I'm going to take it further in like the next phases of my DA and whatnot. But so one of the covers that I was doing, 1984. I'll just show you here for reference, like if you can see like what I was doing. So like I chose to do like a bit of a fire situation just because if you know anything about 1984, it's very much like when I was kind of ideating, the all of the designs are like eyes or like TVs, like surveillance, which is obviously what it's about. But I was like, oh, I want to do something different. Like, I want it to be unique. I don't want it to be boring, the same old thing. So I tried that out, and then like I posted it to like Discord, and I work at a bookstore as well, so I like talked to my colleagues there, and I was like, hey guys, what do you think of these covers that I've designed? And one of the like main things that they brought up was like, oh, like it looks really great, but the fire like just doesn't really resonate with that book. Um, and it would identify more with another book called Fahrenheit 451. So, also like the font of the design that I did, like it's like an Art Deco font, which doesn't align with like the era of that book at all. So even though I'm kind of like trying to remix it, like you still need to, keep the integrity of like the original work, obviously. So I just ended up deciding because I really did like the way that like that fire design looked. I was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna change it to Fahrenheit 451. And I kind of just like it's very similar, but I've just changed it, and it's like based in like the 1950s. So I thought that that font fit much better with like the era of that, if that makes sense. So yeah, that was my challenge.
That's so cool. I really love how you like took into consideration what other people said and I guess the history of the book to make it suit better. Would you, because I know I use Discord a lot to get other people's opinions. So would you say that that was helpful for you in the process to sort out what you were doing and kind of refine it to better suit?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like that's such a huge part of remixed media in general, just kind of getting an outside perspective on it, because you can get very pigeonholed in the way like that you're thinking about things. So I think, yeah, like also just a part of like design thinking process in general, like you need to be, prototyping and then testing. So I was like just going back and forth between those two steps to kind of finalize my idea, because like I got so much good advice. Like it was just like small things like, oh, hey, like, would you consider like changing the background color, or would you consider like making the font a little bit smaller, or just like stuff like that. And I was like, that's so helpful. So yeah, I think that's such a key part of it.
Yeah, that's really great that you could get advice from other people.
I have to say I love the designs. But I did want to say I feel like it's very hard, like people feel pressure to making their designs so good. Did you feel pressure to making your covers stand out in a particular way from others that had already been made?
Yeah, I definitely did. And also because I'm not a graphic design student, like I did this out of pure interest. And I also like working at a bookstore, I see a million different versions of these covers, every time I go to work. So I think there was like a really fine line between being too minimalistic and too kind of over the top, I guess. Um, so yeah, I tried to like balance that with the three titles that I did. Um, yeah, it's a hard line because there was so many covers that I saw, and I was like, I just feel like that doesn't really tell the truth of the story. Um, so yeah, I feel like it tells you a lot, and I wanted people to be able to identify with it more, if that makes sense.
I feel like you made a really good point about like maintaining the integrity of the book, especially like a book like 1984 and Fahrenheit 451. Like they're not, you know, sort of fun trivial books that you read for a little giggle. So I think yeah, maintaining integrity is a really important idea. Now, did anyone have any sort of parting words on any advice they would give fellow students or future BCM114 students in terms of their digital artifact?
I did. Oh, sorry. I definitely like something in regards to me is like I feel like you shouldn't assume one creative choice will always like perform better than the other. Definitely do your research first. Like for instance, when I did my A and B testing, I wish I researched a bit more, but now like going into my second assignment, I'll definitely take that on as like what to do.
Mine would just be follow the design process. I think that was really important in like creating and framing and making it.
Yeah,
I think-
building onto that. Oh, wait, do you want to go, Jess?
Go Eve.
Building on to what Cassie said, I think the ideation process at the start is really important. So like exploring all the options that you're thinking of. Yeah.
I think I would say just don't be afraid to make a mistake or to get something wrong, because you learn from it and can make the artifact even better by failing the first time around.
I kind of said it before, but I just kind of want to reword it. I think feedback is not just helpful, it's kind of essential for the design thinking process and just, you know, creating a digital artifact in general.
And I sort of agree with that, like that point. I think sort of collaboration is such a key part of this subject, through not only like group work but Discord and like our tutorials and everything. So I think very much lean on your peers, because I think that very much like it helps a lot. But yeah, no, I think that's everything. Thank you guys.